Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for yet another episode of the Royal Corner today. I hope you've been enjoying the episodes that I've published on the YouTube site as well as on Spotify. Please go and like and subscribe to the Royal Corner SA. I'm extremely delighted to announce my guest today. His is a story of resilience and overcoming. It is a story of an individual who has not had necessarily a fair shot compared to some of us, where he is actually blind, but he's been able to overcome the blindness. And we're looking forward to engaging a little bit more about his journey and how he's been able to attain 2 qualifications under his name, as well as the fact that he has been working in corporate South Africa for the last 13 years. Mr. Phillemon Nkate, welcome to the Royal Corner.
Thank you to me. I'm also happy to be part of the session today. Yes, it's really interesting.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So, Phillemon, I mean, our journey goes way back. We used to work together. In one of the organizations in banking. I've had a bit of, I guess, the pleasure to learn a bit more about what being blind means and really seeing you being passionate about your job day to day. And I found it so incredible that, you've been able to even go as far as attaining an honors degree. And I was so excited when I started this podcast to say, I'm going to extend an invite to you. And when I reached out to you and you honored that invite, I was absolutely delighted. I couldn't wait. I haven't been sleeping waiting for this day. So I just want to express how blessed I am, how I'm feeling incredibly blessed to have you sitting next to me. Not only are we colleagues, but we became quite fond of each other as friends. I've gotten to learn a little bit more about you.
Yes.
But I thought, let's use this platform that I'm building to come and share your story, because I think there's a lot of lives that will be impacted through your story. So just to kickstart the conversation, I want to say, relax. This is pretty much like us having a conversation. You're sitting on my couch, we're chatting about your journey. So yeah, feel free. And maybe just to kick us off, if you can tell us a little bit about who Phillemon is.
Okay, thanks to me. I am Phillemon Nkate, as we have indicated. I am blind individual. However, my blindness went through some stages because previously I was diagnosed partially blind at the younger age. And then after that, the doctors recommended that I went to the special school. And then that's when I had to go to Bartimia School for the Deaf and Blind in Tabanchu at Free State. Mm-hmm. And then my doctors did indicate to me that I might lose the eyesight along the journey of my life. So they recommended that I learn Braille so that if something happens, I lose it completely, then I am not stuck. I can be able to move on with life. Then that's how I ended up being part of Bartimia School for the Deaf and Blind. And then I am the father of 3 children, 2 girls and 1 boy in between.
Aww.
And then I stay at Rodokop, Pomola Gardens in the eastern side. Mm-hmm. Recently called Ekurhuleni, from the city of Ekurhuleni. I stay there with my wife and my children. Mm. So I matriculated in 2003. And then a year later, after 2003, then I lost my vision completely. I became completely blind. Mm. However, I couldn't stop the journey of my education because I was well equipped with learning, with being able to study and learn with the Braille and all of that. Yeah. And then by the year 2005, I joined the University of the Free State. Mm. I did my BA General Management, where I specialized mainly with the business management and communication science. Mm. I completed that one junior degree at the end of 2008, and then in 2009 I did my honors degree in business management. Mm. Mainly the specialization was around strategic management and marketing.
Yeah.
And then after that, in 2009, I completed that one, and then it was just a 1 year program. By the grace of the Lord, then I did manage to complete it within 1 year, even though it wasn't that much easy because the theory was too much, the content. But as a man of faith, I did manage, and then I worked hard. I had to sacrifice a lot of things to make sure that I complete my studies within the record so that I couldn't lose the bursary that was financing my studies. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
And then 2010, I started searching for the job. Yeah, I must say it wasn't easy because some of the organizations were declining my applications when they noticed that I am completely blind. They said they don't know how to handle individual with this kind of disability. They said if you at least you were partially blind, we could accommodate, or if you were on the wheelchair. However, because of being the man of faith, I never lost my hope.
Yeah.
I carried on searching until by the end of 2011, then there was a organization that accommodated me regardless of the living situation, which is my disability.
Yeah.
And then I was accommodated, I was included. And then that's where me and you met.
Yes.
Yes. And
Wait.
currently I'm still working there.
Yeah.
I just moved around, changing the departments. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
that's the journey of my life. If in a summarized way. Yes.
yeah, sure, Philemon. I mean, there's such a lot of value that I think from just the small parts and the overview that you've just provided us with. There's a lot of value that we can derive from it. So I have a couple of questions just in terms of, I guess, the foundational part of your life as it
Yes.
pertains to your studies. So you mentioned that, you went fully blind after your matric year.
Yes.
But fortunately, you had already started learning Braille, so that wasn't difficult. So, in
Yes.
terms of, because I think a lot of us don't know, I mean, we're not aware because it's not that, it's because we don't necessarily have a lot of exposure to blind people.
Yes.
But did you have many options in terms of the further studies themselves? So, you did mention the special school that you went to. I guess that's your high school.
Yes.
And when you then got to university, because you went to the University of the Free State,
Yes.
was it in those days every institution that you could apply to, or you were limited in terms of where you could actually study? Did UOFs maybe make sense because of the proximity to home?
No, the thing is, all the institutions of higher learning, they are accommodative when it comes to the type of my disability. Yes,
Yeah.
most of them, they are accommodative. It is just that my metric score could allow me to qualify at EOFs, I think, as well as at the University of Pretoria. I wanted to study at VETS, but I couldn't meet the minimum requirements in terms of the metric score.
Yeah.
That's why I ended up going there.
Okay.
Secondly, I think most of the people that we were from the same school went to EOFs, so knowing that when you go there, you have got people whom you know, and then you will be able to consult from them whenever you come across the challenges. So that was also the motivating factor for me to have ended up going at EOFs at that particular time.
Okay.
And then, yes, indeed, as you are saying, yeah, I must say you are one of those people that are fortunate, because some of the people, most of the time, they just wonder how do you survive if you are completely blind like myself. But at least when now you have got the fortune of having we met in the same department. Then you got to understand my daily routine as to how do I navigate from the entrance of the building all the way to my desk,
Yeah.
and then moving around the building. Yeah, so at least when now you can even be able to say no. You can even guide me. We can walk on the street. We can climb the stairs together without any hassle. So
Yeah.
yeah, so yeah. What I can highlight is that when you are having this kind of disability, especially blindness, you really got to be uh, emotionally strong. You got to admit your situation. Don't blame God for why are you like this while others are not having the disability. God has got the purpose for each and every one of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So once you admit your situation, it gets easier for you to then find the way forward to understand the type of people that are supportive around the environment, knowing that okay, if I talk to me, then I know she will be able to help me. If I talk to that other one, then they don't have that kind of patience, because some of the people, they don't have patience for us as blind people. So but fortunately, in most cases, out of 10, at least you will have 2 people that are patient with you. They can help you when you call. So now, if out of 10, 8 say, no, we don't have time for you, don't just feel like you are unfortunate, or you are like, you are not a human being like other people. People are always different. You just got to have faith and confidence in yourself that God loves you no matter what the situation.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure, that's such a beautiful word of encouragement. I can imagine the ears that this episode will reach, and the impact that will have, because I mean, I know with the journey of blindness, with I guess the information that is available out there,
Yes.
we learn every day, you know.
Yes.
So some people, like you said, you have lost, initially it was you being partially blind and then going fully blind. So sometimes people struggle with that aspect of accepting that this is my fate. And so how do I move forward from this point? And I think your story is such a powerful one. It's a testimony of overcoming, like I highlighted when I introduced you on the podcast, to say this is the card that you've been dealt, in that you would lose your sight, but losing your sight didn't mean losing your dreams and really your vision. No
Yes.
pun intended with the vision.
Yes.
And in terms of just when you then went to university, how did you choose your course? Because you said you've got a BA, right?
Yes, I got BA.
Yeah, in general management.
Yes, yes. So I grew up um, having love for the BCom, but now because of I couldn't do maths, and then I didn't have accounting. That's how I ended up choosing BA General Management, because was the option. So I I actually liked to study within the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences. If I couldn't have the issue with the eyesight, I could have done BCom accounting.
Okay.
Yeah, but at least I then had that option of doing things like business management and economics.
Yeah.
Those that were less with the formulas, and those that things that are too much visual. Like for an example, you can't do formulas if you don't see how you can't really get to understand how do you apply the formulas if you cannot see. Especially at that age, the technology was not that much developed as it is today. I think maybe going forward, the young people can be able to do the accounting and all that with this kind of disability, because the technology is developing and trying to reduce the barriers there. So yeah, that's exactly why did I choose that one. I liked I liked business management.
Okay.
Yes.
So much, and then
I'm a kind of person who is business minded. Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh wow. So much that you even went to pursue an honors degree, as you said, in business management, and you
Yes.
did it within a year.
Within a year, yes.
Wow.
And at that time when I completed it, I actually wanted to do masters, but then I decided that let me go and pay hunt for the job,
Yeah.
for survival, and then I still have the dream to do MBA. I could be happy if one day I end up completing my PhD.
Wow. Yo,
Yes.
Dr. Nkate.
Yes, I want to. One day I want to wear that red gown.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you will.
Yes. With God's grace, yes, I know it will happen because
With the
education doesn't go according to the age. It's all within your desire if you want to. Then because even now I'm still doing the short courses while I'm still at work.
yeah.
Like project management, I got some certificates in project management. Yeah.
Wow.
Yes.
So you ever upskilling yourself? You haven't limited yourself.
Yes. Every year I'm still doing one or two short courses just to be relevant and to add on the skill set of it. Yes.
That's so
So I
refreshing.
think that's mainly why did I choose that one,
Yeah.
and I guess it helped for me because I ended being where I am today, and with God's grace, as I'm saying, for the word of encouragement for people who are blind there out there, they must not relinquish, they must not lose hope, and we are highly urging the parents and the siblings of the people who are blind to be very, very supportive to those individuals, because if you don't have the support from home, you cannot easily get the emotional strength. It must start from the house. If you got supportive people around you at home, even when you get ridiculed there on the street, at least you can easily remain resilient because you know that at home they are supporting you. So even if on the street people are like saying some negative words around your type of disability, you cannot really be discouraged and lose hope in life.
Yeah.
So if indeed people can be supportive, not only from the family members, anyone who is gonna listen to our session, they must really think strongly about this one. They must be supportive. It mustn't be because you know me as a relative. Even if you are I'm not your relative. If you see me walking with the stick there on the street, be supportive. Because I mean, with disability, you don't apply for it. It can come
Sure.
in many ways. Sometimes you can be involved in the accident and you ended up being blind.
Yeah.
So then if you're not being supportive, you never know, one of your family members can be affected.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know who will become blind in your family members, in your relatives. So it's highly important that people be supportive to not just blind people, any kind of disability. We need that kind of support and inclusiveness. We must not be ridiculed and be made, we must not be treated in a way that you feel like you are not important as any other one around
Yeah.
you.
I love that. I absolutely love that. You are not less of a human being
Yes,
just because you don't have your eyesight.
yes,
And I think a lot of the time, disability, it's something people, when they are not used to something or they don't understand something,
yes,
that's where the tendency comes into ridicule
yes,
or to just, sometimes some people are uncomfortable, so they'd rather shy away from it
yes,
and not offer. I like what you said about, even if it's not your relative, we see you on the street and you need a helping hand, offer that support, because we
yes,
don't also know tomorrow it can happen to any one of us or
yes.
even to our
Relatives.
loved ones.
Yes,
Absolutely. So and this is the importance of such conversations to create the awareness. I know we've known about blindness and the many disabilities that are out there,
yes,
but I really think the conversation needs to be elevated and talk in our open spaces.
Yes.
to understand. I loved what you were saying earlier in the chat to say that I've been blessed enough to be exposed to you and to understand. I really see it as a privilege because had I not been exposed to you, I wouldn't have the level of understanding of how you are as capable as I am in
Yes.
even executing in the respective roles that we occupy in the corporate space.
Yes.
So, and I'm always very passionate about when I'm exposed to something and I've learned about something, I like to go out there and educate people.
Yes.
So I'm also hoping that from this episode or this session that we have on the Royal Corner, people can learn a couple of things, especially with the nuggets that you're dropping, especially with the support element as well.
Yes.
To say that we live in a society where we need to carry each other and hold each other's hands.
Yes.
Interestingly, in my own family, with on my dad's side,
Yes.
there's a late great uncle of mine. So my dad's uncle, my dad's late uncle, he was blind.
Yes.
But the way that he was so independent, of course within reason,
Yes.
but the things that he would do, my mom used to just talk about how he was such a gentleman and
Yes.
very, very clean. So you
Yes.
would never, wherever he was, he's not going to leave that environment in a mess just because he cannot see.
Yes.
He would actually leave the environment better than someone who's got eyesight. So, I mean, I was quite young when he was still alive. So
Yes.
my memories are quite faint.
Mm.
I don't have much knowledge of how he then navigated the world.
Yes.
But to have this conversation and to know you and to engage with you, I really am incredibly blessed. And I hope this episode will reach many, many ears so that we are aware, and we really lend that support that you talk about, because I think it's so critical, especially parents, as you've said,
Yes.
families of blind people, just being able to groom their children and give them that support. Because, as you said, you have to be emotionally strong.
Yes.
Now, I want to understand a bit about your journey when you started, because you said transitioning from university and deciding that, okay, I could go and study for my master's, but now it's time for me to just be economically empowered.
Yes.
The applications, you mentioned that it was quite difficult because then you would get turned down because of your disability, the fact that you cannot see, and they were
Yes.
saying
Yes.
if you were at least partially blind. I'm quite
Oh.
excited to see that a lot more companies and organizations nowadays, diversity, equity, and inclusion is a big topic. It's a big thing.
Yes.
So I'm really, really happy to see that that's gotten more and more of the spotlight.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think we can be greatly pleased if then organizations there out in the corporate world, if they can practice what they are preaching to include.
Yeah.
Especially, within the sets of disabilities, I think us who are completely blind, we are the ones who are mostly struggling because it's like we are not capable. So I think it can be much pleasing if individuals out there can make sure that they recruit more of people with disabilities. Because it's something to say we are having diversity and inclusion at the workplace, but then if you are not practically doing it, So I think all over the country, if all the companies can indeed practice what the policies, because most of the companies, when you read their policies on the website, they are good, they sound good, but practicing that is something else. So as I was saying, if on the street you can be supportive, then even if when you are the hiring manager, you can now be encouraged to say, let's include them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's a good point that you're making, to say sometimes companies may, on paper,
Yes.
say that we are being inclusive, but actually there need to be more efforts in making sure that inclusivity, because
Yes.
it includes quite a variety of things. So I think you highlight a very important thing, because I think sometimes organizations can put out there that they're being inclusive and they're embracing of diversity, but there are actually more efforts that are needed to make sure that practically on a practical level, so your experience and many other people out there living with different disabilities need to really feel like I belong here. I belong. I feel, the
Yes.
ethos of the company saying that we are about inclusivity,
Yes.
but your lived experience must feel as such.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So when you were applying for a job back then, because you do mention that you're with the current company for 13 years,
Yes.
what was that like? Just getting a call back, you've submitted an application, and then you're getting called for an interview. How did that go?
Well, the feeling was so great when I was given the opportunity to come for the interview. Yes, then I felt I think in my mind, it just confirmed to my mind that having strong faith can yield good results. Because before the company that I'm with now, many companies that, as I was saying, they said, due to the nature of your disability, we are unable to take you, So with this one being invited for interview, then I felt very happy. And then I went to go and answer the questions. And then the panel, I must say, the panel was very pleased with how I did.
You knocked them off their feet.
Yes. They were very, 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 very impressed. And then I felt very, very motivated when I was called for the second interview, which was the test actually.
Oh.
So then in my mind I could feel like that for the fact that I'm now called for another session, it felt like, okay, I'm pleasing them, because now if not, I couldn't have been invited for the second session.
Yeah.
And then after the second session, I was told that the results will be combined, and then within 7 working days I must know the answer. And then the answer was not there. But I never stopped being strongly hopeful for the best. I continued to pray. And then 2 weeks later, then I got another call to say, please, there are other people who were not part of this panel in the previous sessions who wanted to see you, because the panel said they were highly impressed with you. So these ones, they want to attest to what they are being told. Then I came for the third one. And then I also then rose to the occasion.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was told that within a week, but one of the panel members from the initial session, when he left the session, he left earlier because he had to attend another meeting. He said to me, Phil, hope to see you shortly. So that was an indicator to say he couldn't say that if then he didn't
believe.
Yes. So then after that session, then it was much of the informal one, and they got to understand me. They wanted that session to say, how do you live? Which resources do you need? Then I told them, I need the computer of speech. The speech is called JAWS for Windows. It's a screen reader. It reads everything that pops up on the screen. And then they then asked me which is the organization providing this, and I told them. They then went out, and then after a week again I was called for coming, bringing my applications for them to be verified. That's when I felt that no ways, this is it,
all is going well.
Yes. Then after that, they now then remain silent again for 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, I got the call to say, come and take your appointment letter and sign for it if you are happy with the offer. Then that's how it went.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So the process itself, it took 3 months.
Yeah.
But yes, because I'm naturally a very patient person. I never got frustrated with that process. Even though it took longer than I was told that like it will take, but I believe that it was a very good cause for me.
Yeah.
Indeed, it has been. So I must say that the other companies must be like my current company, because they actually work hard to practice what is in the policy.
Wow.
So if all companies in the country, they can do that, try to accommodate, then I think it can be good.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ah, that's such a beautiful and heartwarming story, because to hear that they invited you to the table,
Yes.
and then when you were at the table, they saw the value that you've got to bring so much that they said, hey, we want to get you everything that you need in order for you to be able to execute on your role.
Yes.
That's really incredible. Sure. That's such a beautiful journey, and thank you for sharing that, because I think a lot of time people would think that, things like this are impossible.
Yes.
But you got an opportunity where they were moving things around for you.
Yes.
Yeah. And I was quite curious as you were talking when you mentioned that you were patient throughout the process, because I imagined myself and how anxious I could have been, very eager, and I'm wondering, when is this feedback coming? They're overdue. Can they just
Yes.
um which they always say patience is a virtue,
Yes.
and your journey is testament to that. You
Yes.
were not, sometimes I think we can sell ourselves short by wanting to rush into things or being too pushy for things, but when the time is right, the things fall into play. And I think
Yes.
your story really is testament to that.
Yes.
Yeah. And now during COVID, because you've been with this company for 13 years and they've equipped you with what you need,
Oh, yes.
during COVID, what was that transition like? Because now suddenly we are working from home. Did you have to take equipment from the office? What did that look like?
Yes, there was that accommodation to say, do you need the equipment like your desk and all of that, and then we were equipped with everything we needed, like your routers for the connectivity. Yes. So yes, so the transition was quite hospitable. It was really enabled to be the very smooth one, because even everything, the desks and the chairs were delivered to my house. Everything I needed, my manager made sure that everything was well organized for the easiness. Yes.
Wow.
So yeah, that's how it was. So yeah, I mean, as I'm saying, um, as we are now encouraging the people from, because the managers at workplace are the people from the communities and the society at large.
Okay.
So I'm saying they must really make sure that what is in the black and white in terms of the policy, they must actually implement that. Because, for an example, in my current company, they made sure that they practice that, because the so-called reasonable accommodation, that's what enabled me,
Yeah.
because of the nature of my disability. I said, okay, this is what we can do from this policy called the reasonable accommodation. So they always try to make life easier for me.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure. I hope the managers out there and the big bosses are
Yes.
listening
Listening,
to
yes.
say, please go out of your way, just go that extra mile to
Yes.
make life easier for your people, irrespective of the kind of
Disability
disability
they
or
have,
even
yes.
challenge they may have.
Yes.
I think some visibility disabilities are visible, where you
Yes.
can see someone is living with a disability,
Yes.
but others are not.
Yes.
And let's not discriminate, but instead be more accommodating. So I like that your message is also urging those managers or those people who are in positions of influence
Yes.
to make sure that we do everything in our ability to accommodate as much
Yes.
as the inclusivity policies are saying.
Yes.
Yeah. And what have been some of the challenges, I guess, with regards to then your corporate journey, just as an overview, some of the things that along the way? So you've got the systems that are there to help you do your work effectively, but where have you maybe struggled a little bit in terms of then being able to execute on your role?
Well, I think the challenge is there. It's like due to the nature of the disability. Like, for an example, there is the so-called the new ways of working. Sometimes you find that, I think mainly it's about things that are visual, whereby my screen reader can not read those things. Like being able to present in graphs and charts, all of that, that is the latest style of working in the corporate world. So those are the challenges, because now, due to the nature of my disability,
Yeah.
my screen reader cannot read the pictures to describe it in a way that I can have a good sense of what is in the graph. So other than that, I think the challenges, I can say there is no major challenges that I can say they are the worrying things in my life. There are those that are just associated to the nature of my disability, to say sometimes, even when you are sitting in the meeting room, if people are presenting, you cannot see what they are showing there. So I think the challenge, I normally make sure that the challenges that I come across, I manage them. Like, for an example, as we were saying, some of the people, because they have never met with people who are blind like me,
Yeah.
they wouldn't know what to do and how to do. So I got that responsibility to say, when you present, to say, please have a bit of the explanation in your presentation, so that you also paint the picture in my mind, to say, don't just refer to say, as you can see, to slide number 10, for an example. Me, I cannot see what is in the slide. You have to explain that in this slide we got this table contains the message or the indicator in this graph. Mainly this is showing you the analysis or the trend, so I always make sure that whatever challenge I pick up, I share with my colleagues, to say, please try to do this so that I can feel included. Yes. So fortunately, they always willing when I indicate. So I think, as I was saying, you must be patient when you are sitting and then people are presenting. If they are now like sounding like visual, they are now just say, see this, see that. You must not be impatient and say, now they are now excluding me. Remind them, because they are not used to this situation. You must always try to make them understand the way of living.
Yeah.
So you must always help the people around you to understand
Wow.
your living situation. Don't always be like pissed off to say, oh, now they are just, because they can see now, they don't explain what is there. They not doing that intentionally. They are not used to it. So time and again, especially if you meet with new people, you must always try to show them how do you navigate, how do you carry on in life, so that they are able to say, okay, Phil, here,
Yeah.
this picture or this graph contains the following. This is what it means.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that, helping people to understand, because you
Yes.
could sit and really be a victim of your circumstance
Yes.
and say, well, people are excluding me, they don't see me.
Yes.
But actually you having the understanding that no, these people are not doing it intentionally.
Yes.
Let me take the time
Yes.
to educate them and be patient with them.
Yes.
I think that's so powerful, because I think both ways there's grace to be extended. So there's
Yes.
grace to be extended to you
Yes.
because of your blindness.
Yes.
But then by the same token, there's a level of grace that you
Yes.
also need to extend to your loved ones around you. And I think that spirit is probably what has carried you through
Yes.
the different spaces that you've been in,
Yes.
because you don't see yourself as a victim, but
Yes.
as an overcomer.
Yes.
And saying, how do we navigate through this particular situation?
Yes.
Wow.
And the other important thing is that with us being living with disability, no matter what kind of it is, what is very important out there for our colleagues out there,
Yeah.
you you must always bear in mind that if you are with the person with disability, no matter which kind of disability it is,
Yeah.
there is this mindset from some of our colleagues out there, from society at large, regardless of whether I be at the university, on the street, at workplace, everywhere.
Yeah.
People must make sure that and understand that inclusion means doing things with us. Don't say, I will do it for him. I will decide what is good for him. Do it with me so that you can get to understand it. Don't say, because he's blind, he needs this. Get to understand, what do I need? How do I need it? So do things with us. Don't do things for us.
Wow. Yo, Phillemon, you've just dropped a bar. You just dropped a mic there.
Yes.
The mic in front of you, you've just dropped it. Do things with us and not for us.
Yes.
That is so powerful.
Yes.
It's opened my eyes as much as, just my experience with you and the
Yes.
enlightenment that I've received in general from spending time with you.
Yes.
Just that line. Because I think there can be a tendency to say, you know what, let me just do these things for this person and make their life easier. But you're not incapable because you can't see.
Yes.
We should do things with you.
So that you can clearly and thoroughly understand my need.
Wow.
Don't say, because he's blind, then he needs this. What if then I need that thing in a different way? So doing things with us enable you to consult and get to clearly understand my situation. Where am I? Where do I need to go? How do I get there?
Listen, I'm so inspired. I'm so inspired by your story. And I'm honestly so excited about the number of lives this conversation is going to touch. May God multiply your portion, all the positive things, all the things you dream of. You and wanting to obtain that PhD, you will. And
Thank you so much.
And in fact, I believe there's a sponsor out there who is going to pay for your studies as well.
Yes.
To make life a little bit easier.
Yes.
Now, as we wrap up, I want to just know a little bit more about your personal life. So we've spoken obviously about the journey from when the full blindness kicked in and going into university and joining the corporate environment.
Yes.
So a little bit about your personal life. You did mention at the beginning of the interview that you've got 3 beautiful children, 2 girls and a boy, as well as your dear wife.
Yes.
And how are family dynamics? Do your kids understand your blindness? How is the whole interaction?
Yes, they do understand, and sometimes that's how I got to understand the grace and the love of God, because they were not verbally told that I'm blind. They could study by observing my movements around the house. And then they ended up understanding at the younger age. Because now I noticed normally when they want to show me something, they will just come and grab my hand and say, Dad, this is what I like, feel this. So then that was how I noticed that they observed and they understood that I am blind. No one had to sit and tell them that I am blind.
Yeah.
They just naturally observed it and then got to understand it. And they are very proud of me. They are not ashamed. So I got a very blessed family. Their mom and them themselves, they are very, very, very supportive, and they are really behind my emotional strength. They are the main source of my emotional strength.
Wow.
And then at my personal space, I like listening to music and sport. In weekends, I would listen to the soccer matches.
In what language do you listen in? English?
So I listen in Sesotho and Setswana.
Yeah.
As well as in English. So it depends. It depends who is the commentator on that day. So I got my favorite in Setswana and my favorite in Sotho. So because they changed the shifts, if in Sesotho today is not my favorite person, then I will go turn on the station and get to understand who is there in Motsweding. So in soccer, I normally listen to Lucidi FM or Motsweding.
Waitwara bolo monna.
Yes.
That's the commentary they have on those channels. Yeah.
Yeah, so I do also during my spare time, in weekend, especially Saturday.
Yeah.
I normally, when I listen to music, then I sit with the glass of my wine there.
You unwind.
Yes.
Hey, we must share a glass. We are overdue to share a glass of some grapes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
me in my spare time. And then in Sundays, I normally go to church.
yeah.
Yes, I'm a Roman Catholic Church member.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a wholesome human being.
Yes.
Very wholesome. I think it gives us good perspective. It's great to have delved into, the more focused and serious side of you, but to
Yes.
also just get a glimpse of the life that you're living outside of, the corporate environment, and
Yes.
how your family is really your support structure
Yes.
and the importance of that.
Yes.
Yeah. Phillemon, I want to say thank you. Thank you for availing yourself for this episode today. I really thoroughly enjoyed myself. I always knew it was going to be a great one. And really, it was a catch up between us two as well, because
Yes.
I haven't seen you in quite a while.
Correct. Yeah.
So, thank you for taking time out. You could have been anywhere today, you could have been sleeping still.
Yes.
But you've showed up, you didn't disappoint.
Yes.
Even from the first point of contact when I reached out to you, you didn't hesitate one bit.
Yes.
And I want to say I am extremely grateful for that. I value our friendship.
Yes.
And as I said earlier, I am wishing you nothing but the best, and may all your dreams come true.
Thanks very much to me. I think from my side as well, I wish you all the best, and this must grow up. It must really get the traction of the audience,
Yeah.
because as I indicated to you, us who are like elders in this community of blindness, so we got the responsibility to influence our fellow people. They're out to also make things easier for those that are still at primary schools and high school, so that when they get into corporate space, they are well accommodated. So really, I appreciate the opportunity to come here and catch up with you, because I guess it will really make a difference into our audience, to make sure that our members of community are making sure to accommodate each and every one of the people living with disabilities, all the way from blindness, deaf, and wheelchairs, all of them, paraplegics and others. Yes, so I really wish that this session goes out there into the audience and make a huge difference in the society. Yes. Thanks very much for the opportunity. I'm really delighted to have been given this opportunity to come and share the journey of life, so that it goes and impact positively into our fellow members of the society there out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Incredible. Thank you so much. Well, folks, there you have it. What an incredible episode and session that we've had. I hope you guys have managed to get a nugget or two, and please do share the message far and wide. What a beautiful story of resilience and overcoming. And I think the nuggets that Phillemon has dropped in this episode are really applicable for so many of us, being able to exercise that patience as well with one another, with our different challenges. But thank you for joining us, and please continue to like and subscribe to the Royal Corner SA on YouTube as well as on Spotify. Thank you.